Hey there, welcome to My Green Pets. I'm William Green. Today we're doing an evening update for a change. It's 6 o'clock p.m. and so the sun is on the other side of the building, but you can see that the lights just flipped off just a few seconds before I started filming, so you can see there's still quite a lot of evening light in here until the sun sets. And in the summertime, the collection gets a lot of indirect light. Alright, we've got lots of buds on the way, some things already in bloom, so let's go ahead and get looking. We're going to start back here in the corner. Kind of out of nowhere, Bulbophyllum lepidum has produced two spikes. You can see one here and then one over here as well. And these little guys bloom out so fast. It's really quite incredible. Those are probably bloomed out by Monday, and they only last a few days, but they are really special. On the back here, I just watched Stephen Van Camp and Lewis's Cattleya update. He showed off his Cygnocys cooperi, which really lovely looking inflorescence he's got on that. Mine, I have started to water a couple of them, but just lightly. So for example, this Mormodia Jumbo World, the new growth is quite large. The roots are already quite long down into the pot, and I went ahead and, because I just felt like I needed to start watering it more or less. It's had a lot of I repot these guys in the winter. Everything's really dry, and when you water, everything kind of gets nice and settled in there. So anyway, I went ahead and watered him today for the first time since January. And then I also gave my Cygnocys cooperi a decent little spray. The thing is, sphagnum moss doesn't absorb water very quickly when it's bone dry, so a lot of the water just kind of ran through the pot, but it was just kind of a preliminary soak. The bulbs were starting to shrink up a little bit, and I wanted to go ahead and get him started. And then over here, this Cattleya Rebecca Northern as well. Its bulbs were really starting to shrink up, so I went ahead and gave it a good soak. I've actually watered this one twice so far now. So we're getting there, slowly but surely. A little bit of water here and there. Let's see, if we look right here, we've got Vanda falcata. This is Hakusan, awarded last year with an award of merit. Looking very nice, and as it is evening, the fragrance is just starting to kick in, and it'll get really strong here as the sun gets lower in the sky. Really love this little guy, and we've got quite a few flowers still coming. We've got a little inflorescence down here. We've got several buds opening, and then on the other side we've got a whole other spike on this side down here starting as well. It's kind of hard to get around there, so that is going to have lots of flowers on it. Hopefully these will still be in bloom when that other spike blooms out, but if not, it'll still be nice. And this plant made me realize that evening fragrant orchids are really nice when you work a day job and you come home, and if you have fragrant flowers that are only fragrant during the daytime, their fragrance is kind of faded by the time you get home, but these guys are just getting started. So a couple Februaries ago, I had brought home a Rhyncholaelia Aristocrat, and then I promptly sold it because, well, I didn't have a whole lot of space, and I really regretted it because that same plant is evening fragrant, has big white beautiful flowers, and it blooms right in late winter when I have nothing in bloom. So today I managed to get a division of that same plant. It's Rhyncholaelia Aristocrat. It's Digbiona by Glauca. And it's the back bulb division, so it doesn't, it's probably going to take some time to get established and get going, but it had a ton of new roots pushing out of the newest growth, so we're gonna see. We're gonna see if this guy is gonna get going and grow for me. I'm really excited. It dawned on me that when I used to have a yard outside. I loved evening flowering plants like moonflowers, and I was like, wouldn't it be cool to have an orchid collection of just evening flowering plants? Like evening fragrance, I mean. Wouldn't that be cool? Let's see, what else we got? We've got several Rex spikes and sheaths coming out. This is Inti. You can see the buds really pushing out there. Back here you can see the buds on no, this is Nina, I think, back there. You can see right in that little slot. One thing that's happening this year with, I think, all the Rexes across the board, their buds look very small, significantly smaller than other years. And it's not just one plant, it's all of them. Like this one, Wida. See how small the buds look? I mean, yeah, I realize that they've still got some growing to go, but just, yeah, I feel like they should be bigger. And then if you look at Mayu over here, Mayu's actually the first one to break out of its sheath. Those are going to be tiny flowers. Look over here. Look how small those little buds are in the sheath. So, I mean, we'll see once everything blooms out. But if the flowers end up being much smaller than in previous bloomings, I'm really going to be scratching my head, because these are, 3-4 different plants in very different situations. This has kind of got tons of growth. This one's mounted. This one had rot last year. This one had a pod last year. And yet they're all experiencing these, they seem to be experiencing these smaller buds that might be smaller flowers. So I do know that last year I gave the plants a really hard dry season, barely fertilized them all winter long. And this year I fertilized them and watered pretty regularly all winter. So if that affects flower size, that's going to be really weird. Otherwise, we've got lots of Cattleya growth and development happening over here. Really excited about this Hardiana. Nice big pretty bud popping out on him. Dowiana rosita over here as well. Nice new leaf popping out. Can't believe Dowiana. Really excited. The two, the Purpurata and its hybrid Pulcherima, have both put out a growth, and the growths are facing each other, and they finally have gone over the top of the pot, and they can see each other, so they're kind of saying hello to each other now. And then Cattleya maxima, I've kind of had my eye on it the past few months. I don't know if it's just because it's so tightly packed in here, and there's maybe plant on top of plant on top of plant, but there are several yellowing lower leaves, and even this large upper leaf is yellowing. And it's been going on for a little while, so I did have to cut off a section of this plant 2 years ago that looked like it had some kind of internal fungus infection. So I don't know if it has returned, or again, it's just because the plant's kind of strangled. See, I think there's multiple plants in there. I think that was a bunch of seedlings that kind of just grew up together. Anyway, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to sit and watch, see what happens. But something's definitely going on back there. Let's see. We've got some Rex seedlings. This is Mayu by Orchid, and these guys were deflasked in the fall, so September, October, I think, is when I got them, and they're doing pretty well. Just sitting there in their little terracotta pot. It's about time to start pulling them apart and potting them up. Some of the Peru Flora seedlings, these were deflasked in May of 2021, so next month they'll be 2 years out of flask, and we're starting to see some big changes. Look at that leaf. Look at that guy. I learned a term from the Nepenthes community. It's called leaf jump. It's when it's, they grow real slowly, and you just get a little bit bigger, and then suddenly, boom, the next leaf is like, wah! Leaf jump is what they call it. And speaking of Nepenthes, believe it or not, I did not think that these were going to do very well in my tent, because it's kind of warm in here, I think, but I feel like I could say that that's a little bit of a leaf jump happening on this guy. That new leaf looks significantly bigger than the last one. The little pitchers are kind of climbing out of the pot. And something really cool that happened this week I did not expect was that this little guy just turned red. You can see that one picture on the left there. It just turned very red lip there, or peristome I think it's called. So that's cool. I'm excited. I'm excited. I think Nepenthes are easier overall to grow than orchids, so it's always nice to see something going a little bit faster. These leaf pullings that I took off the pinguiculas have really started to root now and get going, so that's exciting. And this Agricum leonis from last week, still sitting there, just kind of becoming accustomed to his new environment, and hopefully we'll see some new roots pushing out there. After doing some reading and looking around, I don't expect any flowers on this thing for a couple years. I'd be surprised if I got anything before two years, but maybe, who knows, might get lucky. Alright, well, that is all I've got for you today. Thanks for stopping by, checking in on My Green Pets. I'm William Green. You have yourselves a lovely week, and we'll see you next time right here on My Green Pets. Bye.